Hi everybody, it's Kelly with Pookie and Belle, and today we are going to do a video about sublimating patches, but not just the sublimation part, but actually making the patch. So we're going to embroider the border, stabilize it, then sublimate it. So if you're interested, you want to know how to do this, then stay tuned. Okay, so let's go over the things that you're going to need to be able to sublimate and create and make your own patches. I used tackle twill. I got this from Stahls. Comes in, I want to say about 56 inches wide, and I think you had to order a minimum of 2 yards. I'm not for sure. I'll have to look it up. If it is different, then I'll post it in the comments below. Then I used just a cotton fabric because I was out of tearaway stabilizer, or I'm sorry, I was out of cutaway, and that's usually what I'd like to use on patches. So I used a cotton fabric, and then what I did is I used like a heat and bond product, and I heat and bond the tackle twill to the cotton material. So here you can see in this first layer, in between the cotton and the tackle twill, I have the heat and bond product, and then I put my patch backing material that makes it where you can just heat apply the patch. Then I put that on the back, and then I put a tearaway stabilizer. I wanted to make sure these patches were going on lap coats, and I wanted to make sure that I could get them kind of just stiff and sturdy enough to be able to hold up. Because when I first stitched them out without any stabilizer, this is what you got. And it's just really flimsy. Sublimates well. I mean, that's great. And the patch border that I got off of Etsy, I'll link that below as well. It was a good price, and every single one of their patches, they come with a ton of sizes, and they stitched out really, really nice. So you need your tackle twill, your cotton, if you're doing it my way, a heat and bond product. I use sticky back, tearaway stabilizer, and then my patch heat, whatever it is. I can't remember the proper name, but I'll link it all below because a lot of these supplies all come from different places. So once you put those three things together, then I hooped the tearaway. So I'll show you that here, kind of the process that I did. I like the sticky back tearaway because I'm just floating this. I didn't want to take time to actually individually hoop all of the tackle twill, and I'm just using the little PE 770 and a 5x7 hoop. I do have the larger hoop, but again, I didn't feel like messing with it, and so what Pro to add all the to split it up and everything. I was just, this was quicker and easier for me to do. So once I hoop the sticky back stabilizer, then I just take a pin and I score, not all the way through, just lightly score all the way around. And then I just make a line through it. Use the pin to then just peel up the material. And throw that away. So now this is sticky. And then what I do is I have my pieces already prepped, and I just lay them down on here and stick it to it. That's it. Now we'll put it on the machine and go ahead and stitch it out. Okay, now while that's stitching out, it's the last one of 12 that I have to do. The next thing that I did is I went in with a 8.5. I have a Sawgrass 400 sublimation printer, so I went in and used just a piece of the 8.5 by 14 sublimation paper, and I printed out the logo that needs to go on these patches. So then once I print out on the sheet, then I just cut them all apart, and I trimmed off a lot of the extra white, because then what will happen is I will sublimate 3 at a time, and I just use a little spray tack, spray it on there, and then stick those on there, sublimate them at 400 degrees for 1 minute, and then they will turn out like this, except much sturdier. So that's what we are going to get ready to do next. Now we're going to go ahead, we've got all of the patches stitched out. Let me see if you can see this. Sorry for the banging you guys around. And this is what it looks like. So now I'm going to, so I can fit more on the platinum, my heat press, I'm going to just go ahead and cut them apart and get some of this excess off of here. I only need 10. I made 12 because you never know if 1 or 2 may get messed up during the process. So make yourself a couple extra so you don't have to go back afterwards. And if you're kind of doing it in a assembly line type style, you don't want to have to go back and start all over again. So we'll get these cut apart, and we'll get the adhesive sprayed on and go to the heat press. Now we'll take these over to the heat press and we'll press them at 400 degrees for 1 minute. And I'll bring them back as soon as that's done. Okay, so now they're fully sublimated. I had to fix my light here. There we go. Okay, so this is what they look like. And now the next step is I'm going to take my embroidery scissors, because they're curved, and I'm going to cut out as close as I can without snipping the stitches, the satin stitch, and cut these patches out. And then I'm going to take a hot knife if needed, and I'm going to just roll it around the outside edge of the patch to seal everything off and keep anything from fraying. So now we'll get to that. that's what it looks like. And if you can see how it's just kind of rough and jagged, and twill will fray like that, but when you use the heat knife, it will melt all of that, and then it'll be really nice and finished. So that's what we're going to do next. This is the hot knife that I use. I got it off Amazon years ago. I want to say it was probably around 15 bucks, but this is what I use. And I also have a glass cutting board. If you wanted to, you can just put your patches on and you can actually just use the edge of the hot knife and you can completely cut out the patch. I don't actually like doing it that way because you've got to be pretty quick or it'll just damage the patch and melt right through it. So in this, I'm going to try and get nice and close here for you so you can kind of see how this works. But you can kind of smell this because I've got stuff on it when it starts to heat up. But when it gets hot enough, you just run it along this edge. Let's see if you guys can actually get this. You can round your edges really nice with this, but you don't want to let it sit on there too long. It's really just quick brushes, and you can get your sides nice and straight. It's really difficult to do with scissors, and you want your patches to look as professional as possible if they're not being laser cut. But it'll seal up all those edges so you won't have any fraying thread. And every now and then you might want to use, like I just use a piece of scrap cotton fabric carefully and wipe it off because it will kind of gunk up on here, and then it can kind of burn and discolor the edge of your patch. There we go. So you can see the way it layered it up. This is a pretty stiff patch now, and it's not just kind of flimsy, and that's what I like. So it kind of feels just thicker and like they're getting a quality product. So that's how you sublimate and make your own patches. If you have any questions, just post them down below. If you want to see more detail as far as using the Sawgrass sublimation printer, actually using the PE 770, just put a comment down there and I will go into more detail in some other videos. I just wanted to do this real quick for those of you that already have embroidery machines and sublimation printers and just wanted to know, can you make your own patches without subbing them out if you don't have the means to make them. So yeah, I think that's it. So everybody enjoy your weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.